Today, I'm going to talk about foods, 7 foods that are bad for brain health and that can set you up for cognitive decline and dementia.
Meet Dr. William Li, a distinguished physician, scientist, and internationally recognized expert in food as medicine. As the respected author of the New York Times best-selling book, Eat to Beat Disease, Dr. Li has garnered global acclaim for his innovative approach to healthcare. He pioneered research that has contributed to developing over 30 new medical treatments, significantly impacting the management of more than 70 diseases, such as diabetes, blindness, heart disease, and obesity. In this video, Dr. Li will be exposing the 6 worst foods that contribute to dementia. From surprising seafood choices to harmful trans fats, he'll explain how these foods can negatively affect your brain health. But that's not all. By the end of the video, Dr. Li will also reveal 3 of the best foods to help prevent dementia, so make sure you watch till the end to find out these untold secrets about dementia. But before we explore these 6 dementia-contributing foods, let's define dementia.
Now, cognitive decline is something that usually happens before you actually go into dementia. And so this is a continuum of brain health that we're talking about. Okay.
Dementia is a complex and devastating condition affecting millions globally. It refers to a decline in cognitive functions such as memory, communication, problem-solving, and judgment. For people living with dementia, it can mean losing the ability to recall cherished memories or struggling with everyday tasks, which is a harsh and heartbreaking reality. And some foods that can contribute to the risk of developing dementia or worsen its symptoms. These foods can cause inflammation, oxidative stress, and damage to brain cells, ultimately affecting cognitive function. The first food that contributes to dementia, according to Dr. William Li, is carb.
Type 2 diabetes, which can come from metabolic syndrome, which can come from eating too high carb diet, actually sets up for blood clot. Blood can clot because in the small blood vessels because you're not getting a smooth surface, and so the blood can stick. You got 400 miles worth of blood vessels, your circulation, your brain that can have microclots, and if that happens, you're in trouble. That's actually a setup for something called vascular dementia. We're going to talk about vascular dementia again, but that's why you actually want to make sure that you don't develop metabolic syndrome. You want to lower the amount of carbs that you eat. You don't want to have a continuously high carb diet.
Carbohydrates are often considered harmless, but when consumed in excess, they can have a damaging effect on brain health. Foods like cakes, pizza, white bread, and sugary syrups are prime examples. According to the National Library of Medicine, high consumption of sugars and carbohydrates is associated with a higher risk of developing dementia. When we consume excessive carbs over an extended period, visceral fat grows inside our gut, wrapping around our organs like a baseball glove. This toxic fat becomes inflamed, triggering a systemic response that inflames our entire body, and our brain suffers the consequences. Inflammation disrupts communication between brain cells, leading to cognitive impairment and memory loss. In fact, the root cause of diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease is inflammation. According to Dr. Li, consuming excess carbohydrates can contribute to metabolic syndrome, but what exactly is it? Metabolic syndrome is a group of conditions that increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. The 5 key components of this syndrome are central obesity, high blood pressure, elevated fasting glucose levels, high triglyceride levels, and low HDL cholesterol levels. The symptoms of metabolic syndrome can result in serious health complications, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. High blood pressure, a major component of metabolic syndrome, can damage blood vessels in the brain, making them more prone to rupture or blockage, which can lead to a stroke. When a stroke occurs, it can cause irreversible damage to brain tissue due to a lack of oxygen, inflammation, and bleeding. This damage may lead to cognitive decline and increase the risk of dementia. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. If you find our videos helpful, please support us by dropping your comments in the comment section. The next food on Dr. Williams' list of dementia-causing foods is trans fats. Trans fats are artificial fats created through hydrogenation, a process where hydrogen is added to liquid vegetable oils to turn them solid at room temperature. This makes them cheaper, longer lasting, and more spreadable than natural options like butter. Now, you might ask, where can I find trans fats? Well, trans fats are commonly found in processed foods like fried items, baked goods, packaged snacks, and margarine.
All right. So I'm just telling you, trans fats were found in a lot of different things. Okay. So they were banned. I'm going to come to the ban in a second. But why were trans fats bad? Well, when they were developed, we didn't know anything about cholesterol. All right. But now we actually know that trans fats raises your bad cholesterol and lowers your good cholesterol. Completely what you don't want to do. Trans fat raises your bad cholesterol and lowers your good cholesterol. And that sets you up for atherosclerosis, which is narrowing of your arteries with plaque. All right. Kind of like your sink that gets clogged, the plumbing gets clogged, and that sets you up for cardiovascular disease. And when your heart is not working well and your blood vessels are clogged, that also affects your brain as well, damages brain health.
According to a study posted in the Journal of Neurology, people who consume lots of trans fat are 50% to 75% more likely to suffer from either Alzheimer's disease or dementia. Here's the reason why. Dr. William Lee reveals that trans fats not only raise bad cholesterol and lower good cholesterol, but also set the stage for atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is a condition where plaque builds up in the arteries, causing them to narrow and harden. This restricts blood flow, leading to cardiovascular diseases. The plaque accumulation can also cause inflammation, further damaging the arteries. Now, let's connect the dots to dementia. Atherosclerosis can lead to dementia by decreasing blood flow to the brain, depriving it of essential oxygen and nutrients. This can lead to cognitive decline and memory loss. But there's more. Chronic inflammation from atherosclerosis can damage brain tissue, increasing the risk of dementia. Atherosclerosis can also cause blood clots, leading to stroke, which can result in cognitive impairment and dementia. The next dementia-contributing culprit is soda. Did you know that a single can of regular soda contains a whopping 9 teaspoons of sugar? Consuming that much sugar in one sitting can overwhelm your metabolism, leading to a series of negative health effects. Imagine pouring 9 teaspoons of sugar into a glass of water. Not very appetizing, right? Yet, that's precisely what you're ingesting with each can of soda. According to a study posted by the American Heart Association, consuming 1 or more artificially sweetened drinks per day can increase your risk of stroke and dementia. Now listen to what Dr. Lee has to say about this.
If you ever had snacks, you probably had trans fats. If you ever had chips or any kind of flakes, those are probably trans fat. They were also used in fried chicken. They were used in burgers. They were used in tacos for fast foods. They're cheap. It's cheaper than high quality fats. They're also put in frozen foods because that would actually help the shelf life last a little bit longer. It makes the frozen food last a little bit longer. Good for the company selling them, good for the grocery store, and they were found in things like non-dairy creamer for coffee.
According to Dr. Lee, consuming sodas regularly can lead to metabolic syndrome, which is a cluster of conditions increasing the risk of developing type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Here's how it leads to dementia. Since type 2 diabetes is the presence of excess sugar in the blood, this can damage blood vessels in the brain, reducing blood flow and oxygenation. Insulin resistance and inflammation, both linked to type 2 diabetes, can also harm brain tissue. When insulin signaling is disrupted, neurons lose the vital survival signals they need to function properly, resulting in cellular stress and, ultimately, cell death, also known as apoptosis. At the same time, the inflammatory response caused by insulin resistance activates immune cells in the brain, which release a surge of pro-inflammatory cytokines. These cytokines can damage brain tissue, impair neuronal function, and contribute to the development of dementia. Processed foods are the next dementia contributing revealed by Dr. William Lee. No doubt, processed foods make up a large part of our daily diets. They are quick and convenient, and often come packaged in boxes, cans, or bags, far removed from their natural state. But the sad reality is that food manufacturers blend raw ingredients with artificial preservatives, colors, flavors, and sweeteners, creating products that may look and taste appealing, but can harm brain health. According to research published in the New York Times Magazine, regular consumption of processed foods significantly increases the risk of developing dementia later in life. Here's a reason why. Eating processed foods can increase your risk of dementia due to their pro-inflammatory properties and lack of essential nutrients. When inflammation becomes chronic, it damages brain cells and impairs cognitive function, paving the way for dementia. But there's more.
Now, I'll tell you another thing that's in ultra-processed foods that looks like it's got a real consequence to brain health, and that is ultra-processed foods are likely to have microplastics in them. Microplastics are tiny little pieces of plastic that can come off a water bottle into the water. It can get into foods. By the way, just when food moves through a factory, through plastic vats, through hoses, through tubes, through packaging, there's all kinds of opportunities for microplastics to get into your food. And we didn't know that microplastics were bad until recently, when a group in Italy were studying blockages in the arteries that transmit blood from the heart to the brain, your carotid arteries, and those can get narrowed. And what they found when in a clinical study is that people with narrowed arteries, when they took the plaque out, the blockage out, they were able to pull out some of the blockages. They looked under the microscope and they had microplastic, the cheap plastic in the blood, and then the plastic gets into the blockage, into the plaque itself, right? Now, it gets worse because they actually found the correlation between the more plastic, the people with plastic in their plaques, this is the atherosclerotic lipid narrowing, the things that are narrowing their blood vessels, the plastic in there was correlated with a 4-fold increase in fatal heart attack or stroke. So there's this connection. Stroke being in the brain health, microplastics, more common in ultra-processed foods.
As Dr. William Lee pointed out, microplastics, which are tiny plastic particles less than 5 millimeters in size, have been detected in various processed foods, such as bottled water, salt, and even table sugar. These particles can enter the human body through ingestion and may pose potential health risks. When microplastics are consumed, they can accumulate in the body and cause inflammation. Research suggests that microplastics can enter the bloodstream and travel to various organs, including the brain. Now, here's how they cause dementia. Microplastics can accumulate in the arteries, contributing to plaque buildup and atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis, as mentioned earlier, can lead to reduced blood flow to the brain, depriving it of essential oxygen and nutrients, which can contribute to dementia. Chronic inflammation from microplastics can also damage brain tissue, increasing the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. This is because the presence of microplastics in the brain has been linked to the activation of immune cells, leading to neuroinflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are associated with dementia. Dr. William Lee also listed seafood as another dementia-contributing food we should look out for.
Now, the thing is that some forms of seafood actually contain mercury. Mercury is a heavy metal. It's actually naturally found in the ocean. It's naturally found in the earth. And there's a lot of toxins that get leached into the ocean, and tanker spills and all kinds of other things that get dumped into the ocean where there's a lot of extra mercury in there. And mercury is just eaten as part of the fish swimming in the sea. The tiny fish get mercury. Bigger fish eat the smaller fish. Bigger fish yet then eat those slightly smaller fish, and so on and so forth. And so the higher in the food chain you get, the more fish has been eaten collectively that actually has mercury. So the big fish, like swordfish, bluefin tuna, sharks, tilefish, for example, they wind up actually collecting a huge amount of mercury in their bodies. All right. So you got to be careful eating a lot of these big fish, like swordfish, and eating sushi even. For example, every day if you have sushi, the amount of tuna that you might actually have mercury in as well.
Are you aware that some types of seafood can contain high levels of mercury, posing a risk to your brain health? Large fish such as swordfish, bluefin tuna, sharks, and tilefish tend to accumulate significant amounts of mercury due to their position in the food chain. According to Science Direct, the world's leading source for scientific research, mercury is a powerful neurotoxin that is capable of causing Alzheimer's disease, which is a form of dementia. Here's a simpler explanation. Mercury, in its organic form, can latch onto proteins in the body, allowing it to pass into the brain. Once there, it messes with important brain chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, which help regulate mood and brain function. This disruption causes oxidative stress, which is like a chain reaction of harmful particles attacking brain cells. These particles damage cell membranes, proteins, and even DNA, potentially leading to brain tissue damage and memory problems over time. Similarly, the presence of mercury triggers an inflammatory response in the brain. This activates immune cells that release various substances called pro-inflammatory cytokines and chemokines, which worsen brain tissue damage and can ultimately lead to dementia. The next dementia-contributing food on Dr. Williams' list is alcohol.
How many of you have heard that a cup of red wine or glass of red wine is good for you, right? Alcohol. Well, alcohol is not good for your brain and might not be surprising because if you think about it, if you drink a lot, what happens? You got a hangover, right? When you have a hangover, what do you have? A headache. Well, you know what? And you're foggy. That actually is an example of what alcohol does to your brain. And here's the whole thing. It turns out that, the beneficial aspects of red wine are not the alcohol itself. It might be the polyphenols that are in the cup of red wine or in the glass of red wine, but the alcohol itself is a deadly toxin to your organs. Your cells are really, really sensitive to alcohol. Okay, let me tell you, alcohol stuns and can kill heart cells. Alcohol stuns and can kill liver cells. And alcohol is a toxin to your brain cells as well. There's no situation in which alcohol is beneficial, all right, even in red wine.
Dr. William Li debunks the widespread myth that alcohol, particularly red wine, is good for our health. In reality, alcohol is a toxic substance that can harm our organs, including the brain. What if I told you that the supposed benefits of red wine come not from the alcohol itself, but from the polyphenols it contains? In reality, alcohol is a harmful toxin that can damage and kill heart, liver, and brain cells. According to the National Library of Medicine, high alcohol consumption is linked to an increased risk of developing dementia. Here's the shocking reality. Alcohol's neurotoxic effects can lead to brain damage, cognitive decline, and increased risk of dementia. The hangover symptoms, such as headaches, fogginess, and disorientation we experience after excessive drinking, prove that alcohol is bad for you. When you consume alcohol, it seeps into your brain, acting as a potent toxin. And here's the worst part. Alcohol targets your neurons, the brain cells responsible for transmitting information and shaping your thoughts, memories, and emotions. Neurons are highly sensitive to toxins, and alcohol can directly kill these precious cells. With each sip, you're risking irreversible damage to your brain's intricate communication network. So, what's the connection between alcohol-induced neuron death and dementia? As alcohol continues to pickle your brain cells, it impairs cognitive function and sets the stage for conditions like dementia. Over time, the cumulative effect of alcohol on your neurons compromises your brain's ability to process information, store memories, and maintain overall cognitive health. With that in mind, avoiding the foods linked to dementia that Dr. Li mentioned is one of the best ways to prevent cognitive decline and maintain optimal brain health. Your brain health is the foundation of your entire existence, and neglecting it can lead to serious consequences. By prioritizing brain health, you can unlock numerous benefits, including enhanced cognitive function and improved mental well-being. A healthy brain is essential for sharpening focus and concentration, boosting creativity and innovation, enhancing memory and learning, regulating emotions and managing stress, supporting overall physical health. Now, Dr. Li will be revealing to us the 3 best foods that can boost your brain functions and reduce your risk of dementia. The first type of food to include in your diet are those rich in omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay. Now, the other thing is that omega-3s actually protect the lining of the blood vessels, all right, which is really important for brain health. for brain circulation, the 400 miles of the highways and byways of the circulation in your brain as well. And if you can actually protect against damage to blood vessels in your brain, you're protecting against microvascular damage, small blood vessel damage, you're protecting against vascular dementia.
Omega-3 fatty acids have garnered major attention in the world of brain health due to their impressive benefits. These essential fatty acids, commonly found in flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, canola oil, and hemp seeds, play an important role in maintaining optimal brain function and warding off neurodegenerative disorders like dementia. An important aspect of omega-3's brain protective properties lies in their anti-inflammatory action. By fighting inflammation within the brain, they help prevent the formation of amyloid plaques, which are the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Additionally, omega-3s protect the fragile lining of blood vessels, which is essential for maintaining healthy blood flow to the brain. Berries are the second brain-healthy food recommended by Dr. William Li.
Ellagic acid from a strawberry. Ellagic acid is what makes strawberries tart. Okay, and if you get organic strawberries, they actually have higher levels. And the reason is because the strawberry plant naturally makes ellagic acid as a response to being nibbled on by bugs in the environment. So this is Mother Nature's wound healing response. So when you grow naturally, the strawberry is going to have more ellagic acid. When you eat an organic strawberry grown naturally, you're going to get more of this blood vessel protective response. Recently, it's been shown by a group at University of Cincinnati that eating just 1 cup of ripe strawberries per day for 6 weeks, this is published in a research journal, actually in middle-aged people who had mild cognitive deficits, right? Not full-blown end-stage dementia, but mild. Like, where are my keys? I'm sorry, what is that again? The thing that you're starting to develop the symptoms. It actually improved memory, strawberries, 1 cup against a placebo. It reduced the depression and frustration of not being able to remember things. Okay. And it actually improved the score, the cognitive executive functioning score, all because of the ellagic acid and another bioactive we think called anthocyanin.
Dr. William Li highlights the impressive benefits of berries that are rich in ellagic acid, a natural compound that enhances brain function and lowers the risk of dementia. Consuming just 1 cup of ripe strawberries each day can improve memory, reduce feelings of depression and frustration, and enhance cognitive function. However, strawberries aren't the only berries high in ellagic acid. Other options include raspberries, blueberries, cranberries, blackberries, and elderberries. Ellagic acid, found in organic berries, has neuroprotective properties that help inhibit the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. This action reduces neuroinflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are key factors in dementia. Ellagic acid also promotes the growth of new neurons, which may help compensate for damaged or lost brain cells associated with dementia. Cruciferous vegetables are another brain-healthy superfood Dr. William Li recommends.
Third thing that I would actually tell you is brassica, which is a category of vegetable. All right. If you're in Asia, that'd be bok choy, gailan. These are all the kinds of very common. If you go to your local Asian grocery store, almost all the fresh greens in the produce section are going to be brassica. All right. But if you're on the other side, the Mediterranean, which you also know is a super healthy way of eating, you're talking about your broccoli, you're talking about your black kale, the Tuscan kale, the cavallonero, you're talking about your cauliflower, all kinds of different types of greens of different sorts. Great source of dietary fiber, great source of bioactives that actually light up your brain health and light up your blood vessel, your vascular health, and light up your immune health while lowering inflammation.
The cruciferous vegetable family, comprising broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and others, contains a unique group of compounds that have been shown to possess neuroprotective properties, making them potential candidates for fighting dementia. One of these compounds includes glucosinolates. Glucosinolates are sulfur-containing compounds found in cruciferous vegetables, which break down into isothiocyanates, such as sulforaphane. Sulforaphane activates the NRF2 pathway, a key regulator of the body's antioxidant and detoxification responses, helping to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain. As a result, consuming cruciferous vegetables can improve cognitive function and lower the risk of neurodegenerative disorders like dementia.